Japan has so much to offer to every traveler, and one of the most exciting things about Japan, in my opinion, is the food. We've heard of sushi, we've heard of nigiri, we've heard of ramen, we've heard of gyoza, but there is one more food experience that I really relish when I'm in Japan. And yes, today we are going to talk about something unique, something not many of you may have heard of, and that is called Shabu Shabu. So, to put simply, this dish that many of us have not heard of is a popular style of Japanese hot pot, or something that the Japanese call nabemono. But let's start with what a hot pot really is. A hot pot is basically you having the ingredients that you choose right in front of you, and on the table, right in the center of it, there is a big pot of boiling water which is served with different kinds of serving sauces. And you can just dip your vegetables, you can just dip your meat in there and have like a sumptuous meal. One of the best things of Shabu Shabu is that it features paper thin slices of tender meat, fresh vegetables which are cooked together in a large open pot. And you may have heard of hot pot in China or Korea, but this is slightly different. Unlike the other types of hot pot where the ingredients are cooked together before serving, Shabu Shabu ingredients are served raw and cooked tableside by you during the meal, similar to fondue. So if you're a huge fan of fondue, which many of us are, then Shabu Shabu is something that you should really try when you're in Japan. You will find a Shabu Shabu restaurant at every corner in Japan. But let's get into the history a bit. This particular way of eating hot pot dining originated in Osaka in Japan during the 1950s, but over a period of time just has spread all across these beautiful countries and even to other countries. So if you're in New York or London, you will often find Shabu Shabu restaurants. Like I said before, the best thing about Shabu Shabu is that the ingredients can be customized to one's own taste and preferences. So let's get into the ingredients of Shabu Shabu for a bit. The traditional broth for this meal is a simple dashi made from kombu seaweed with no additional flavors added, since the meat and the vegetables are dipped in the sauce before eating. However, it's becoming more popular for restaurants to offer shabu shabu with flavored hot pot broth such as the kimchi broth, the tomato hot pot, or even the soy broth. One thing about how we eat shabu shabu which sets it apart from other kinds of Japanese hot pot meals is that it involves dipping the meat and vegetables into a large variety of the assorted sauces. But let's talk about the sauces for now. There are two main styles of shabu shabu dipping sauce. One is ponzu, which is a citrusy soy sauce, and the second one is something that is called gomadare, a type of sesame sauce. Personally, I like the gomadare more. Condiments like sliced green onions, grated radish, pepper, and chili oil can also be added to customize the flavor. So often I had myself reaching out for the chili oil all the time because I wanted that hint of spiciness in my meal. Additionally, the vegetables or the meat that you cook is usually enjoyed with a bowl of rice because Japan has so much rice in their food. So Shabu Shabu also comes with a bowl of rice. Typically, plain steamed rice is offered, but also nowadays there is sprouted brown rice, which is a good choice for healthier options. Noodles can also be enjoyed with Shabu Shabu, but it's only the thin glass noodles or the thick udon noodles which can be added to the soup pot at the end of the meal. Now let's come to how do you actually eat one. Ooh, and trust me, this is the best part of the experience. First, the server brings you a pot of broth to the table. You cover the pot and allow the broth to come to a boil and then reduce it to a simmer, which it's going to be doing all through the meal. Then you add vegetables to the pot and cook them briefly to add flavor to the broth. This is similar to you making vegetable stock at home. Next, cook the meat and the seafood, just moving the pieces lightly through the broth, or if you have a preference for slightly overcooked ones, you just submerge them briefly, they'll have more flavor. Cook only enough meat at one time that is going to last you one bite or two bites because you want to have that and go through the cooking experience all over again. Shabu Shabu should really be enjoyed like a fondue, and additionally adding 2 or 3 items at a time, because if you add too many items to the nabe pot at once, it can lower the temperature of the broth and interrupt your cooking. A split Japanese hot pot with a divider down the center can also be used to cook for two different kinds of broth at once. And this is what I exactly did when I was in Japan in the Hokkaido region skiing. So after a heavy day of skiing where you're just exhausted and want a great meal, I was with my friends at a Shabu Shabu restaurant, and we ordered for a spicy sauce and a soy sauce, and we ordered the ingredients as we wanted. The paper thin slices of pork or any other meat that you desire are the most common offerings, but chicken, seafood, or even lamb are served at many of the restaurants. Tofu is another good protein, and for vegetarians, it is something that you should really have when you're at a hot pot restaurant, because the hot pot anyways comes with vegetables, cabbage, onion, carrot, and mushrooms as a fresh standard. But in addition to that, you can also get seasonal produce like tender spring greens, sweet corn, and also in Japan, you can have the autumn yams when you go visit Japan for the autumn colors. Finally, to finish off the meal, the rice or the udon noodles can be mixed with a raw beaten egg. Yes, it's incredible. You just mix it up, add it to the broth, and everyone can just finish it. So, as the Japanese say, thank you or arigato gozaimasu for listening in. See you next week.